So the other day, I was browsing on the internet and came across this 28mm pancake lens, coming in at just 60 grams, 15mm thin, and only $99. Consider my interest piqued. By the way, this video is not sponsored by the lens, but it is sponsored by Squarespace and K&F Concept. So naturally, I want to see how it fares against one of my favorite tiny prime lenses of all time. Like, will this be a joke, or will it have some merits to be the budget alternative to the Sony 24mm f2.8G lens? And so I whipped out my credit card, logged on to Amazon, and oh, $85, hot dog, it's on sale. Here it is, the Viltrox 28mm f4.5 cheap, oh sorry, I mispronounced it, chip lens.
All right, let's discuss the downside.
So let's start off with the downside first, because it can only go up from here. It's stuck at f4.5, so not good in low light, no big beautiful bokeh. So sad. Okay, no problem. I'll just get close to something to make some big beautiful bokeh. Ooh, nope. The minimum focusing distance kind of sucks. And no filter thread, so I can't mount my abundant amount of K&F concept filters. What a shame.
So what's the upside?
Moving on to upside. Built-in lens cover. Like, holy sh**, this is pretty freaking cool. I've never seen anything like this. Switch on, covers the lens. Switch off, ready to shoot. Autofocus. Yes, there's autofocus in this tiny little glass. Now, don't be expecting it to track fast-moving subjects, all right? But yes, it's so AF that you can't even MF. There's no manual ring. You could autofocus into the distance, then set manual focus in camera, and bam, you have zone focus. Great for you run-and-gun street photographers. And man, this thing is light. This is why I love compact setups, because it really gives you that grab and go experience. It's hard to explain, but I often forget that I'm using a camera and I'm just snapping what I see. That's the beauty of using a pancake lens. And because it's so cheap, you can really Frankenstein this. There's a channel that goes by AltCine, and he turned this into a cheap anamorphic setup by taping a small anamorphic lens designed for phones on it. And the results, peak cinema. Now, image quality.
Fair price for quality like this.
You kind of get what you pay for, you know what I mean? But for $99, it's pretty forgivable. Sharpness in the center, it's fine, not stellar, but it does lack contrast. Corners are soft with a massive amount of vignetting, to be expected. But the flare coating is a bit controversial. So Viltrox actually calls their starburst flare a feature, which I can vibe with that, but I don't know about the washed out look that it can give off when you're pointing it against a strong light source. And this, honestly, I would say, is this lens's biggest flaw. But again, for $99,
you get what you pay for.
And it just feels like a sin to have this mounted on a high megapixel beast that is the A7C-R. A $3,000 camera like this really deserves better. Like my favorite 24mm f2.8G lens. Not quite the same focal length, I know. And yes, Michael, I'm aware of the Sony 28mm f2, okay? But we're talking about pancake lenses, not a Denny's Grand Slam. This starts at f2.8 and it has a range of different apertures, but nobody really cares because everybody be shooting at the widest only, because God forbid I turn this to just f3.2. The mutiny! Now, I'm kidding, of course, but the minimum focusing distance is so much better, so you can at least attempt to get big, beautiful bokeh, even at f2.8. There's better contrast in the center, better corner sharpness, better coating so the images don't look as washed out when shooting against the light, and it has a filter thread so I can mount my abundant K&F concept filters, such as this ND1000 so I can get motion blur shots like this in broad daylight, or this magnetic black diffusion filter so I can soften bright light sources and give them that hazy glow while maintaining the overall image quality. And best of all, these are decent filters at an affordable price. Not just filters, but K&F also sells affordable bags, tripods, batteries, and more. For all your photography needs, check out K&F Concept, links in the description box below. Moving on, tracking autofocus is gonna be way faster, more accurate, less breathing, and most importantly, quieter. Now, the downside to the 24G is that it is 6 times the price.
6 times?
$600. But I think it's worth it if you own a high-end camera. Like, you'd be literally robbing yourself of a better photography experience by using cheaper glass. Like, yeah, I got some great shots with the Viltrox, but more often than not, the washed out shots really turned me off from it. On the other hand, even my worst photos from the 24G looked amazing because of the stronger colors. And you can get this in the used market for a much better price. I paid close to $400 for mine. And even though it's bulkier in comparison, 60 grams versus 162 grams, this isn't gonna tear your wrists off. In person, the weight difference is very nominal. So I don't think this Viltrox 28mm can compete as a full-frame lens despite it being designed for full-frame cameras. But on APS-C cameras, it freaking slaps. Especially if you're on a budget for a new lens and want something to play around with. With the crop factor, it comes out to be about 42mm, so it is tighter in view, but still overall a great focal length for casual and street level shoots. And when you mount it on something like a ZV-E10 or a Sony a6000, you get an even lighter pancake feel, an absolute joy to bring around. Image quality wise, those bad corners are gonna get cropped off thanks to the smaller sensor. So if you don't have a kit lens for whatever reason, you can just pick this up. In conclusion, it's fun, I'm glad it exists, image quality and performance will likely get better in the next iteration, and it's gonna happen sooner than we think, because Chinese companies are cranking out new lenses faster than I can breathe. Squarespace. Squarespace is an all-in-one platform to create beautiful websites. No coding knowledge needed. Just simply choose from their many templates and designs. Perfect for photographers and online shop owners. Use my link down below for a 14-day free trial, and when you're ready to launch, you can use my code JASONVONG to save 10% off your first purchase of your website or domain. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you guys in the next video. Peace. Oh no!